Marcus Johnson stood at the entrance of the community centre, his eyes scanning the bustling scene before him. The centre was a sanctuary in the heart of a neighbourhood often overshadowed by hardship. Kids laughed and played, their faces lighting up as Marcus approached. He was a beacon of hope, a mentor who had dedicated his life to guiding the youth away from the pitfalls that had claimed so many. His own past was a testament to resilience. He had grown up in these same streets, faced the same challenges, and emerged determined to make a difference. Inside, Marcus greeted each child with a warm smile, offering words of encouragement and wisdom. He knew their struggles intimately, the lure of gangs, the scarcity of opportunities, the ever-present threat of violence. Yet he remained undeterred, believing in the transformative power of kindness and integrity. His days were long, filled with tutoring sessions, basketball games, and heartfelt conversations. But the rewards were immeasurable, seen in the eyes of the kids who looked up to him, seeing a future they dared to dream of. Meanwhile, across town, in a quiet suburban home, Officer John Thompson sat at his kitchen table, sipping his morning coffee. The walls were adorned with family photos, a stark contrast to the scenes Marcus faced daily. Thompson was a seasoned police officer, his career marked by dedication and a firm belief in justice. Yet, he couldn't ignore the growing divide between the police and the communities they served. The mistrust was palpable, a barrier that seemed insurmountable. Thompson's thoughts often drifted to the stories he heard from his colleagues, tales of hostility and resentment from neighbourhoods like Marcus's. He wondered how things had gotten so fractured, how the uniform he wore had become a symbol of fear rather than protection. As he prepared for another day on the job, he resolved to bridge this gap, though he had no idea how. Marcus, in the heart of the community, fighting to uplift and inspire. Thompson, from the relative calm of suburbia, seeking to understand and heal the rift. Their paths were destined to cross, setting in motion a journey that would test their beliefs and reshape their lives. The stage was set, two men from contrasting worlds, each grappling with their own challenges. The sun was setting as Marcus Johnson walked home from the community centre, his mind still on the kids he had mentored that day. Suddenly, a police car pulled up beside him, and Officer John Thompson stepped out. "Excuse me, sir. We need to ask you a few questions," Thompson said, his tone firm but not aggressive. Marcus felt a knot form in his stomach. He knew the routine all too well. "What's this about?" Marcus asked, trying to keep his voice steady. "We received a report about a theft in the area, and you matched the description," Thompson replied. Marcus's heart sank. He had been at the community centre all day, but he knew how these things could go. "I didn't do anything. I've been working with the kids all day," Marcus said, his voice calm but insistent. Thompson's partner, a younger officer, seemed more agitated. "We need to take you in for questioning," he said, moving to cuff Marcus. The tension was palpable, the air thick with mistrust. Marcus didn't resist. He knew better. "I'm innocent," he repeated, looking directly at Thompson. There was something in Marcus's eyes that made Thompson pause, a mix of frustration and sincerity. The ride to the station was silent, each man lost in his thoughts. Marcus wondered how many more times he would have to prove his innocence, while Thompson couldn't shake the feeling that something was off about this arrest. At the station, Marcus was processed and placed in a holding cell. Hours passed before a detective came in, apologizing for the mistake. "You're free to go," he said, almost sheepishly. As Marcus walked out, he saw Thompson waiting. "I'm sorry about earlier," Thompson said, his voice softer now. Marcus nodded, appreciating the gesture, but still feeling the sting of the wrongful arrest. "Just doing your job, right?" Marcus replied, his tone neutral. Thompson nodded, but the encounter left a lingering impression on him. He couldn't help but think about the divide between his world and Marcus's, and how easily misunderstandings could escalate. As Marcus walked home, he couldn't help but reflect on the day's events. Despite the injustice, he remained calm, knowing that his actions spoke louder than words. Little did he know, this incident would be the catalyst for a relationship that would challenge both men to see beyond their preconceived notions and work towards a common goal. Marcus was finally released after the misunderstanding was cleared up. The relief was palpable, but the experience left a bitter taste. He returned to the community centre, greeted by concerned faces and warm embraces. The kids, his kids, looked at him with a mix of confusion and admiration. He knew he had to stay strong for them. Meanwhile, Officer Thompson couldn't shake the image of Marcus's calm demeanour during the arrest. It gnawed at him, a stark contrast to the hostility he often faced. Driven by a sense of responsibility and a desire to make amends, Thompson decided to visit the community centre. As he walked through the doors, the atmosphere was thick with tension. Eyes followed him, wary and untrusting. Marcus spotted Thompson and approached him, his expression unreadable. "Officer Thompson, what brings you here?" he asked, his voice steady but guarded. Thompson took a deep breath. "I came to apologize, Marcus. I realize now that I made a mistake, and I want to make it right." The initial interactions were awkward, filled with long pauses and hesitant words. But Marcus's openness and Thompson's genuine remorse began to build a bridge. They started talking more frequently, their conversations growing deeper and more meaningful. Marcus shared stories of the kids he mentored, their dreams and struggles. Thompson, in turn, opened up about the challenges of his job and the growing divide he felt with the community. Slowly, they began to understand each other's worlds. Marcus saw the human side of the badge, while Thompson glimpsed the resilience and hope within the community. Their dialogues became a cornerstone for change, a testament to the power of empathy and the beginning of a transformative alliance. The community was on edge. A recent surge in local crime had everyone on high alert, and the tension between the residents and the police was palpable. Marcus could feel the weight of the community's frustration every time he walked into the community centre. The kids he mentored were scared, their parents were angry, and the trust he had worked so hard to build seemed to be unravelling. Officer Thompson felt the strain too. The increased patrols and heightened scrutiny were taking a toll on his team. He knew the community was hurting, but he also knew that his fellow officers were just trying to do their jobs. The divide seemed wider than ever. A community meeting was called to address the rising crime and the growing mistrust. Marcus and Thompson found themselves on opposite sides of the room, each representing their own world. The meeting was heated, with residents voicing their fears and frustrations, and officers defending their actions. Marcus spoke passionately about the need for understanding and cooperation, while Thompson tried to explain the challenges the police faced. Despite their growing respect for each other, the meeting tested their relationship. Marcus felt the weight of his community's expectations, while Thompson struggled with the thin line between duty and empathy. They exchanged glances across the room, each silently pleading for the other to understand. After the meeting, Marcus and Thompson found a quiet corner to talk. The conversation was tense but honest. They both acknowledged the difficulties they faced and the importance of their roles. It was clear that their relationship was being tested, but they also realized that their growing respect for each other could be the key to bridging the gap. As they parted ways, both men knew that the road ahead would be challenging. But they also knew that they had to keep trying, for the sake of their community and for the possibility of a better future. The news hit Marcus like a punch to the gut. A young boy from the community centre, Jamal, had been involved in a serious incident. The details were murky, but it was clear that Jamal was in deep trouble. Marcus knew he had to act fast. He reached out to Officer Thompson, who had been slowly becoming an ally. Despite their differences, Marcus felt that Thompson was someone he could trust in this crisis. Thompson arrived at the community centre, his face a mask of concern. "What do we know?" he asked, his voice steady but urgent. Marcus filled him in on the scant details, and they both knew they had to move quickly. The situation was delicate, and any misstep could escalate tensions further. As they worked together, Marcus and Thompson were forced to confront their own biases. Marcus saw the systemic issues that had led Jamal to this point, while Thompson began to understand the deep-seated mistrust the community felt towards the police. They both realized that this was bigger than just one incident. It was a symptom of a much larger problem. Their collaboration was not without its challenges. There were moments of tension, where old prejudices threatened to resurface. But each time, they pushed through, driven by a shared goal, to help Jamal and, by extension, the community. They spoke to witnesses, gathered evidence, and even mediated between Jamal's family and the authorities. Through this process, their partnership began to solidify. They saw the value in each other's perspectives and the importance of their combined efforts. Marcus's deep understanding of the community and Thompson's knowledge of the legal system created a powerful synergy. They were no longer just a community worker and a police officer, they were a team. By the end of the day, they had managed to de-escalate the situation. Jamal was safe, and the community had witnessed a rare moment of unity between a community leader and a police officer. Marcus and Thompson looked at each other, exhausted but relieved. They knew this was just the beginning, but it was a crucial step towards building a better future. As they parted ways, Marcus felt a sense of hope. For the first time, he believed that real change was possible, and it started with understanding, collaboration, and the willingness to confront difficult truths. The situation with the youth escalated quickly, far beyond what anyone had anticipated. The community centre was abuzz with worried whispers and anxious faces. Marcus felt the weight of the world on his shoulders as he tried to calm the frightened children and reassure their parents. Meanwhile, Officer Thompson was at the precinct, grappling with the urgency of the situation. He knew that this was a pivotal moment, not just for the community, but for his own journey as well. As the sun set, casting long shadows over the neighbourhood, Marcus and Thompson found themselves face to face in the heart of the community. The air was thick with tension, and the crowd that had gathered watched with bated breath. The youth involved in the incident stood between them, a symbol of the fragile bridge they were trying to build. "Marcus, we need to act fast," Thompson said, his voice steady but urgent. "This could spiral out of control." Marcus nodded, his eyes reflecting a mix of determination and fear. "I know, John. But we need to handle this with care. The community is watching, and they need to see that we can work together." The two men exchanged a look of mutual understanding. They knew that their actions in the next few moments would define their relationship and the future of the community. With a deep breath, they turned to the crowd. "Everyone, please listen," Marcus began, his voice strong and clear. "We are here to ensure the safety and well-being of our community. Officer Thompson and I are committed to justice and fairness." Thompson stepped forward, his gaze sweeping over the faces before him. "We need your trust and cooperation. Together we can resolve this peacefully." The crowd murmured, some nodding in agreement while others remained skeptical. The youth, sensing the gravity of the moment, stepped forward and spoke, his voice trembling but resolute. "I made a mistake, but I want to make it right. Please, give me a chance." In that decisive moment, Marcus and Thompson stood united, their commitment to justice and the community shining through. The tension began to ease and the crowd slowly dispersed, leaving behind a sense of cautious hope. The climax had tested their resolve, but it also solidified their partnership, proving that even in the face of adversity, unity and understanding could prevail. The immediate aftermath of the climax was a whirlwind of emotions and reactions. The community was abuzz with mixed feelings. Some praised Marcus and Thompson for their bravery and commitment, while others remained skeptical, questioning whether true change was possible. The tension in the air was palpable, but so was a newfound sense of hope. Marcus found himself reflecting deeply on the events. He replayed the moments in his mind, analyzing every decision and its impact. He felt a profound sense of responsibility, not just for the youth involved, but for the entire community that looked up to him. He knew that his actions had set a precedent, and he was determined to continue being a beacon of hope and integrity. Officer Thompson, too, was in a reflective state. The confrontation had been a turning point for him, challenging his perceptions and biases. He realized that his role as a police officer was not just about enforcing the law, but about building trust and understanding within the community. He felt a renewed sense of purpose, driven by the desire to make a positive difference. As the days passed, the community began to heal. Conversations that were once filled with anger and mistrust started to shift towards understanding and collaboration. Marcus and Thompson's efforts were slowly being recognized, and their relationship, though tested, emerged stronger than ever.
They had proven that despite their differences, they could work together for the greater good.
The community centre became a hub of activity, with new programs and initiatives aimed at fostering unity and cooperation. Marcus and Thompson were often seen working side by side, their partnership a symbol of what could be achieved when people came together with a common goal. The journey was far from over, but the foundation had been laid, and the future looked promising. The long-term impact of the climax began to unfold as Marcus and Thompson continued their collaborative efforts. They were no longer just two individuals from opposing worlds. They had become a team, united by a shared vision of a better community. Together, they brainstormed and implemented new outreach programs aimed at bridging the gap between the police and the residents. One of their first initiatives was a series of community dialogues, where residents could voice their concerns and experiences directly to the police. These meetings were initially met with skepticism, but Marcus's presence reassured the community, and Thompson's genuine willingness to listen began to break down barriers. Slowly but surely, trust started to build. They also launched youth mentorship programs, pairing officers with young people from the community centre. These relationships provided positive role models for the youth and humanized the officers in the eyes of the community. Marcus and Thompson worked tirelessly, often late into the night, planning events and ensuring the programs ran smoothly. The results were promising. Crime rates began to drop, and the community started to feel safer. People who had once viewed the police with suspicion now saw them as partners in creating a better neighbourhood. Marcus and Thompson's efforts were making a tangible difference. Their partnership was not without challenges. There were still moments of tension and disagreement, but their mutual respect and shared goals kept them moving forward. They had learned to see each other not just as a community worker and a police officer, but as allies in a common cause. As the month passed, the positive changes in the community became more evident. The streets felt safer, and the atmosphere was more hopeful. Marcus and Thompson's journey from arrest to alliance had not only transformed their own lives, but had also begun to heal a fractured community. Their story was a testament to the power of understanding, empathy, and collaboration. Marcus and Thompson stood side by side, gazing at the community centre that had become a symbol of their journey. The once dilapidated building now buzzed with life and hope, a testament to their combined efforts. Marcus, who had always been a beacon of resilience, felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He had seen the youth he mentored grow and thrive, their lives transformed by the programs he and Thompson had implemented. Thompson too had changed. The hardened exterior of a seasoned officer had softened, replaced by a man who understood the power of empathy and collaboration. He had learned to see beyond the badge, to connect with the people he once viewed with suspicion. The community, once wary of his presence, now greeted him with nods of respect and gratitude. Their partnership had not been easy. They had faced skepticism and resistance from both sides, but through every challenge, they had found common ground, driven by a shared vision of a better future. They had become unlikely allies, their bond forged in the fires of adversity and strengthened by mutual respect. As they watched the children play and the adults engage in animated discussions, Marcus turned to Thompson. "We've come a long way, haven't we?" he said, his voice tinged with pride. Thompson nodded, a smile spreading across his face. "We have, and it's just the beginning." Their journey had shown them the power of understanding and the impact of small, consistent efforts. They had learned that change was possible, not through grand gestures, but through everyday acts of kindness and integrity. The community had become a living testament to their belief in the transformative power of good deeds. In that moment, they knew their story was far from over. It was a story of growth, of breaking down barriers, and of building bridges. It was a story that would inspire others to look beyond their differences and work together for a common good. And as they stood there, side by side, they felt a profound sense of hope for the future. As the sun set over the city, casting a warm glow on the community centre, Marcus and Thompson sat on a bench, reflecting on their journey. The air was filled with a sense of calm, a stark contrast to the turmoil they had faced together. Marcus looked at Thompson, his eyes filled with gratitude and respect. "We've come a long way, haven't we?" he said, his voice tinged with emotion. Thompson nodded, a thoughtful expression on his face. "We have. It's been a challenging road, but I think we've made a real difference." He paused, looking out at the children playing nearby. "I never imagined that an arrest would lead to this." Marcus chuckled softly. "Life has a funny way of bringing people together. We've faced our biases, our fears and our doubts, but through it all, we've learned the power of understanding and collaboration." The narrator's voice gently interjected, "Marcus and Thompson's journey is a testament to the transformative power of empathy and cooperation. Their story reminds us that even in the face of adversity, we can find common ground and work towards a better future." Thompson turned to Marcus, his eyes earnest. "We've seen the impact of our efforts. The community is starting to trust the police again, and the youth are finding hope and direction. It's not perfect, but it's progress." Marcus nodded, a sense of pride swelling in his chest. "And it's just the beginning. We have to keep pushing forward, keep building those bridges." The narrator continued, "Their journey wasn't easy. They faced skepticism, resistance, and their own internal struggles. But through resilience and a shared commitment to justice, they forged an unlikely alliance that changed their community for the better." As the evening deepened, Marcus and Thompson stood up, ready to continue their work. "Let's keep making a difference," Marcus said, extending his hand. Thompson shook it firmly. "Together." The narrator concluded, "Their story is a powerful reminder that change is possible when we come together with open hearts and minds. Let us all reflect on the lessons learned and strive to make a positive impact in our own communities." With that, Marcus and Thompson walked back into the community centre, their bond stronger than ever, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead.